Hey guys, welcome to Tech Hunt. Today we're going to look at the topic how to hack into a computer and defend it. Now this video was made a couple of years ago when I was actually not having my own business when I was working. At that point of time, the technological peak of any security was up to Metasploit and Nessus and GFI LANguard. So when I say those words, don't get yourself confused. This is something that you will learn in this video, right? This particular video requires a good understanding of networking, because if you don't have that good understanding of networking, you may not understand this very well. But I assure you, going forward, I will put all the related videos with this particular, with the things that are related to this particular video, so that you will be able to understand how to break into a computer. But the logic is not to break. The logic is to understand how one can actually interrupt into your network, and you will be able to stop this by taking some measures. Alright, so I hope you enjoy this video. The quality of the video might be a little too fuzzy because it was taken years ago, but this solves the purpose of the technology. Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to learn about Metasploit framework. In today's classes, we will understand why Metasploit is being used, what are the different ways a hacker would attack, and how could you defend yourself from such attacks. To begin with, let us understand the concept of hacking. Well, in my previous video, I would have given you a pretty much figure of how this is being done, but I guess this would give you more clarity, right? Now let's say this is an attacker right here, and he wants to, or let's say he's a thief and he wants to rob this place. Probably there is a lot of cash in there, right? And for him, he needs to find ways to get into the house. Well, he can't go through the door, it's locked. You have 4 windows and a chimney right here. So how do you get in? You have to have an open door or an open window or an open chimney which is not burning. Alright? For that, he needs to find out if the windows or the door is open or closed. Right? The same way, there are 2 computers. This is, let's say, the attacker's computer, and this is the victim's computer. We need to find out if the port is open on this particular victim's computer or not. Okay, now let's say you have done a reconnaissance, you have walked by this place like 100 times, you flew a jet on top of it and found out that the chimney is open. Well, you have done your hard work and found out, okay, this window is open between 10 to 7. This chimney is open between morning 6 to 8. So you know that this window is used or probably opened by a grandpa, right? And this chimney is used by let's say grandma, right? So the same way, this particular victim uses 2 applications called grandpa and grandma. I know this is really stupid, but I guess this is, if this is your first level of understanding, I just want you to understand what I am talking about. Alright, once we get into deeper concepts, you would never hear any grandpa or grandma, I promise. Alright, now, so let's say the grandpa is an application which is, let's say, your one of the browser, and grandma is one of your chat client, right? Now this particular application is being used 10 to 7. Let's say this browser is being used 10 to 7 and the chat application is being used 6 to 8. So now you know for sure who is opening the window and who is using the chimney. So let's say likewise, you would know a user would be using a browser and a chat client during this specified time. Now let's say you know which browser they are using, and let's say they are using whichever chat client, right? Now you need to check if there are any known exploits for this particular application. That is, first you need to check if there is any way you can break in through those windows or chimney or the door. For that you would require tools like Nmap, not for the house but for the computer. But for the house you would require a hammer, anything that can break through the glass or the door. So the tools that are required to break in to the victim's computer would be Nmap, Nessus, and the ultimate Metasploit. Now let's not go in there right now. Let me give you a further analogy. That is, you know they are using the windows and the chimney at specific point of time. Now you need to know how do you get in. So at that point of time you should be able to send in an exploit. That is, if you know this chimney is open, you need to find a way to get into it. Therefore this is a vulnerable house, this is the vulnerable port, this is a vulnerable computer, and this is a vulnerable port, and you need to get in based on a vulnerability on that particular application. So here the vulnerability will be, let's say the grandma once comes to the chimney and she is not near the chimney, considering that the chimney is not burning, right? So she is not near the chimney for like 10 minutes between 6:10 to 6:20. Okay, so you have to know that particular vulnerable time so that you can get into it. The time gap that you get into this is your exploit, and what you do inside, that is, you take a lot of money and then you come out the same way, well, that's your payload. This might sound funny, probably you may not get it, but when you look into this particular aspect you will surely get it. Now this particular attacker is trying to attack this victim's PC. Therefore he is using an Nmap scan. Now he finds out what applications, what operating system, and what ports are open. Now let's say there are application A, B, and C running, and this particular victim has not patched A and B because the patches for A and B has just released last night, and probably his Windows update or the application update is scheduled once a week, probably on a weekend. So now what you can do is you can use that exploit, right, on that vulnerable software and gain access. Now this part wherein you find a vulnerable computer is a little difficult and requires a lot of training and understanding. So to understand Metasploit better, let us consider this particular victim is vulnerable to SMB exploit, right? We will go further and we'll understand what it is all about. Okay, now this particular kind of attacks can only happen if you are attacking a system that has a hard-coded IP address. Within a LAN this works perfectly fine, but when you try to break into someone's computer, which I recommend not to do so, but if it's a penetration testing and if you're trying to do so, well, if that computer is a web server or any server which has an IP address assigned to it directly, then this works perfectly fine. But if it's behind a router and the IP address is NATed to the router, therefore your packets will drop at the router and there is nothing you can do about it. So this method will not help. So for that we have separate methods, that is phishing, social engineering. You send in emails wherein with links, and people click on the links and the Trojan drops and gives you a session, probably a Metasploit session. But let's not get confused right now. Let's understand the basic concepts and we'll go further. Right? We will set up a lab to understand how this works. This particular page is just for your notes if you're trying to make any. Alright? And my definition of Metasploit, it can be defined as a single framework to carry out multiple tasks. So if you look over here, you really don't need all these tools. Metasploit is just one tool and you keep it in your bag. Better than that, you have Backtrack 5, which has Metasploit in it, and there you go. Okay, so you can download VM Player from this particular website, Backtrack 5 from this link, and I recommend you to take a copy of your operating system or get a copy and make a VM of your operating system for a victim. Or best, if you have two computers, well, I would recommend you to connect an Ethernet cable between both the computers, assign an IP, let's say 192.168.1.1, and subnet mask 255.255.255.0, and default gateway 192.168.1.10, and on the other computer assign an IP on the same subnet, right? And this will give you connectivity and you will be able to do further. Again, VM is the way to go. Now establishing, establishing, and that sounds a little stupid, so leave that. Enabling SSH for PuTTY to connect. Now, what is a PuTTY? PuTTY is a terminal client that lets you access networking devices. The most commonly used would be accessing routers and networking devices. But here are the commands, and let me show you how this is done. Right now, let me open my VM player here, and let me open my PuTTY. Okay. Now Backtrack 5. Complete the virtual machine. We have already, and I believe the IP address would be somewhere up like SSH, and let the VMware load. Right, the best thing about Windows 7, you can do this. And let's wait for a minute. And again, this particular videos are for beginners who are trying to learn security. Going further, our videos would cover more about projects, what are the different kinds of attack we can do, right? And that would be very, very interesting. So let me log into the GUI mode. I don't know Chinese or Japanese. Alright. In the meanwhile, let me also open another VM machine, which is a Windows server. My laptop's a little slow because I've already assigned a half a gig memory here and a half a gig memory here. So well, if you have any doubts, you can always send me an email. You can find that on the website, and I would be more than glad to help you clear your doubts. So see, that's what I've guessed. Now I need to enable SSH protocol for me to connect. Alright, so SSHD generate, and I'm generating certain keys here. Public and private keys are generated, and then I have to use this particular command which is etc initialize d.d sh start. Okay, etc in. Okay, this is another version of backtrack, so please make a note of this one. Server started, I am trying to connect, it's asking for a password and I don't remember my password. Awesome. Well, gives an opportunity for us to learn how to change the password for root, change the password as TOOR. Well, you have to believe me, TOOR. And now I am SSH'd into the backtrack 5. Why? Because it is difficult for me to select, because Putty is globally used software and it's awesome. If you select here and right click, it doesn't paste, but if you select anything here and right click, it pastes. That's the best part, right? And the logs can be saved inside your personal folders just in case if you do anything stupid in the routers. Again, I'm sorry, I'm going off the track. Coming back to the track, we have successfully logged into the backtrack instance. Now server 2003. Alright, it's acting a little stupid again, but yep, give me a minute, it will be up. In the meanwhile, we'll look into the basic Linux command. Right? Now, there are certain things that you should know. Well, if you don't know Linux, I really recommend you to learn Linux. I'm not a master in Linux either, but I know that much that I can make my work around. So, you need to log into the root. You're in the root now, right? Now you display list. You are able to see the different directories. Now if you want to go any of the directories, cd etc, you're inside. If you want to get out of the directory, cd space dot dot. Well, the space is important. If you want to get into the folder where Metasploit is installed, you can put cd space and then type in P for Peter and tab. You will get the kind of different folders inside. CD pentest, and you can hit enter or another double tab to check what are the folders inside pentest. So let's not get complicated. I hit enter and then put ls, then I see these are the folders inside pentest. Now I log in into cd. Hold on, where do I log in into? Exploits, right? And then ls and then framework 3. Now, alright, hold on, cd framework 3 ls. This is where our Metasploit is available, and just in case if you want to read the readme file, view readme. vi is the text editor, and page up, page down to read, right? If you want to get out, escape, :q, enter. Well, I'll reduce the volume a little. Okay, now that's about it, and you can click on cd space // or just cd / and you come to the root, right? Now msf console, enter. This is logging into the Metasploit console. While that loads up, it would take some time. Okay, now, well, you've just seen the next slide. That's alright. We are gonna exploit our first victim. Now, like I said, you need to attack this computer using nmap to find open ports, OS. So let's consider you have run the nessus. If you do not know how to use nmap or nessus to find a vulnerability, please check on my other videos where I have clearly explained how to find vulnerable computers, right? So this video is dedicated to our Metasploit brother, so we will go with that. So let us consider we have found out that this system is vulnerable. Alright, so we log in into that. So generally on a VM machine, it's Control Alt Insert instead of Control Alt Del, just in case. And I am not sure what password. Hold on. Awesome. We are logging in. Okay. Now, in the meanwhile, let me quickly check what IP address I have assigned to that computer, but I hope it's gonna be 129. Alrighty, one moment. Yep, 129. So now, how do you attack? Well, you know the vulnerable computer. Now, that system has, let's say, a known vulnerability. Okay. One of the known vulnerability is DCERPC. Alright. And another good known vulnerability would be okay. Use exploit Windows SMB tab, and there we go. MS. Welcome back. I guess you must have found out I've paused you for a minute. Well, there are certain exploits that will work on computers that are a little bit old enough, and in some countries, okay, I'm not just saying a city or a town, there are in some countries where piracy is high, you will be able to use any exploit. Alright, so there is an exploit on step 1 and exploit on over here. Alright, now you may not have understood anything about it, so let me start from beginning. This is your MSF console. This is just like your Cisco router, so if you're a networking guy. Right, now if you wanna exploit a computer, that is, you know this computer has got an application X which is vulnerable. Okay, now let's say that application is called NetAPI, NET-API. I'm just saying, alright. So now what we would do is we will say use exploit for Windows. Sorry, use exploit for Windows for SMB, and then it gets a little complicated, so I put a tab twice, and then I use this one, right? So I copy this or I right click it. So if you have not used putty now, this is the time to start using putty, or you have to type the whole thing. Now you can go show options. You will see that you need to assign a system that you need to attack. Which port? Let it be the default, and let this be default. So we put our host and assign 192.168.122.129, which is this computer's IP address. Now enter, and then we go up arrow twice, which will give us the history. Show options, it doesn't set. So we forgot set in front. So we have set the R host set. Show options, we have found the host to be set. So now you're telling Metasploit to attack this computer with this exploit. Okay, now this is considering you know that this computer is exploitable with this particular patch. I know because I've tried using all the particular exploit and this one works. Now when we go into the advanced videos, I will teach you how that could be done in a minute, right? So let's not worry about that. So you'd be actually thinking, how do I know which exploit works? So that's where the whole hacking is involved. So we are not going to do that right now. It's purely for the penetration testing. So we found out this exploit can be used on this particular system Now we need to set a payload. What do you want to do when you get access to this particular computer? So again, set payload, then I can probably get an access to his what do you say, command prompt, right? Or I can use an add user command or a message box. There's so many, but the best thing you can do is use this one, right? And don't really bother to try everything, right? Because we have the ultimate coming, which is Metasploit. That's a different video altogether. Now when we set this and hit enter, we get an error message. The value specified for payload is not valid. Okay, we need to give the whole payload, which I thought we did. Now payload is set, then show options. Voila, we have the host set. Well, this is the details about we're gonna attack on the port 4444. Remote host is this, and then we will attack by the command exploit. While it's exploiting, I want you to know these are the nodes, just in case if you want to copy and want to try it at home within your LAN. There you go. We have successfully penetrated into our own computer. Now this could be done on any computer for that matter, provided you have a public IP. Right now we have a C drive here. Now I go cd double dot, and over here I'm on Windows, just to make sure I'm on the same computer. I don't know, am I? Let's see. Okay, hold on. Able.exe. Okay. This is a little confusing. There are too many. Okay, I'm in Windows. I am so sorry. Okay, able DLL is here. AAA is here. Okay, that was funny. But if you want to check, well, this is exactly what we were looking at. Okay, I did a boo-boo. Okay, now make directory hacked. It already exists. Okay, already exists. Hacked. Make directory hacked again. Ding. We have the folder created. Or now you can do a lot of things. You can view a lot of data. Well, if there is any notepad, you can see what it says. Again, just in case if there was a file which had any information that could help a hacker, he could take it out. Again, this is why they say never keep your information laying on your hard drive. Okay, keep it password protected. Now I will exit out of this. It won't. So abort session, Control C, yes, out, close, minimize, and coming back to the slide. I hope our first exploitation of a vulnerable computer was successful. And there are certain things that you should know. Metasploit framework, its path, where it's located, and again, once you start programming and writing your own exploits, at that point of time you would know where to keep all those. Just in case if you want to see, I will show it to you. I'm on the root, cd pentest exploits framework 3 modules, and then we have list. These are the modules, auxiliary modules, exploits, Metasploit. Now Metasploit is something we will talk on another video. Right now, coming back, cd /, Then I can type a slash and give a tab, and I could go -1 and into any other folder that I would like to go. Right now I can go into tools and I can ls. You can find a lot of Ruby scripts available. Now you don't really need at this point of time. All this is just for the level when you actually have a proper hands-on on the exploits, and then when you write the own codes, you should know where to save all this. So it's just a basic idea. Alright, okay, so it looks all clean. Now there are other ways you can access Metasploit, but this is the best. Others, MSF console is what we used. We can use GUI, we can use MSF CLI. All this you can access on just using this command. Everything is stored in the same path, right? You want to check, I'll show it to you. Here it is. Okay, and here is your Metasploit. It's a little slow. Oops. Well, I have to redo the whole thing and I'll be able to access it via web page, but again, I would recommend you to use MSF console. This is the link to download VM player, just in case I know it's too late. I'll use this one, and then you have backtrack. Okay, and coming back to the slides. So we have seen how to break into a computer, but that was not my objective. My objective was, how do you prevent yourself so that no one else could break into your computer? Well, please don't think that if you follow all this you're 100% safe. Well, yeah, 90% yes. Alright, for a good hacker, nothing is impossible to break. Now, how to prevent such attacks? Keep your operating system updated at any given time. Never download any pirated software. This is very important, morally as well. And again, if you download any pirated softwares, along with it you would get viruses and spywares. That's no good. And never install a freeware unless you're 100% sure about it that it doesn't come along with additional add-ons. Well, I've heard a saying which says, nothing in the world is for free, not even a free coffee at work. Okay, now keep all your applications updated. Well, if your chat messenger has a bug, then your computer is vulnerable to attacks. That is why if you look into any organization wherein they are having this ITSM certifications and other security certifications, they would ensure that you do not have any such applications that are unauthorized. So their policies on the firewall would actually begin with deny, and then you would only have allow this, allow that, company's email and company's website. That's about it. Okay, now shut down your PC, which is very important. Well, why do you waste power? And again, if it's a server, then never shut it down. Have a firewall installed in your network, possibly an UTM, and have your people, if it's a company, trained on the company's information security policies. Never show them this video probably. I was saying they should know about the policies. And the management's part, good enforcement of information security policy would really keep your network safe and protected. Well, this has taken quite some time of yours. I really hope this has been informative, and I really wish you could let me know what you want to see in future, and I guarantee you I'll upload all the videos that you want to see. I hope this has been informative. Have a nice day.